Welcome back. News and Talk 1380 WAOK, the voice of the community, people, passion, and politics on your Sunday afternoon podcast edition, as we talked about in traveling this week. And we're really big things coming out. But before the break, we were talking about the kind of worst week ever for Republicans. It begins with Donald Trump being convicted of fraud. It ends with Kevin McCarthy being thrown out as Speaker of the House. Donald Trump still on trial every day in this New York case. We're going to talk a little more about the details of the New York case coming up. But it's a terrible visual to have the leader of your party sitting behind a desk next to his lawyers with the black state's attorney looking over his shoulder and making all these outlandish statements. So Republicans have been trying to figure out a way to stitch the government back together. After Tuesday, when Kevin McCarthy was thrown out, Republicans just took a week off. They sent everybody home. They're not having this next speaker vote or beginning to have the debate on who the next Speaker of the House will be until next Tuesday, as crazy as that sounds. So in addition to trying to find a new speaker, remember, there's a 45-day clock ticking on the continuing resolution that's keeping the government open. So it started at 45 days last Saturday. Now we're down to around 38 or 39 days until the government shuts down again. So you have to have a functioning Speaker of the House, a functioning Congress for the opportunity even to keep this open. So who are some of the candidates for Speaker of the House that we have to talk about? Well, one, of course, I think the front runner would be Steve Scalise. He's the congressman, member of the Freedom Caucus, very conservative. He was the number 2 to Kevin McCarthy. He was the majority leader. He just a quick note on the structure of Congress. So the Speaker of the House actually is supposed to be a neutral position. He's supposed to literally just speak for the House. It's not supposed to be a partisan position. The Speaker of the House is supposed to organize debate, make sure bills are brought up for voting. It's almost an administrative position, as it would be. But throughout the years, it has accreted more and more power, and the 27th Amendment codified it as being 2 steps away from the presidency. So the Speaker of the House has become far more powerful than it was originally constitutionally intended to be. And originally, you were supposed to have a House majority leader for the party that had more people than a House minority leader. So in this case, Hakeem Jeffries is the House minority leader, leading the Democrats with about 212-ish votes if everybody is in town for a quorum. And then you have Steve Scalise leading the House majority, having about 218 votes on their side of the aisle. So you're looking at about a 4 to 6 vote majority on any given day, because you had one Republican congressman who died recently, dropping the number from 218 down to 217, and then people often are either out of town, you don't get full attendance, so that's why the numbers are kind of fuzzy based on exactly the number of people who are there at any given time. So one of the things, since the Speaker of the House is supposed to be a neutral position, anybody actually can serve. You don't actually have to be in the House of Representatives. This is going to come up in a second. So Steve Scalise, clearly, as the leader of the House Republicans, has the inside track to become the Speaker of the House. However, the far right wingers of the party, the Matt Gaetzes and Lauren Boeberts of the world, they want one of their own Freedom Caucus members is being Speaker of the House, and that's where Jim Jordan comes in. So Jim Jordan, as you remember, is the congressman from Ohio who previously covered up a wrestling coach who was molesting children. Jim Jordan has been accused of knowing about that and hiding him, basically enabling him to molest more children. That is Jim Jordan, and you know him from all the impeachment hearings as the guy who talks super fast. He never wears a coat. He looks disheveled all the time, but he really represents Trump. He represents MAGA. He represents the most conservative wing of the Republican Party, and since those are the people who just vacated the seat of Kevin McCarthy, they want their own guy in there. So they may be saying, well, he sounds terrible. What's wrong with Steve Scalise? Steve Scalise once described himself as, and this is a quote, David Duke without the baggage. So the more moderate choice describes himself as David Duke without the baggage. So you have a choice between a guy who covered up for a child molester A guy who calls himself David Duke without the baggage, and then a bunch of no names who will never win. Emmer and Hearn and all those folks, they're not going to win. So then we got some more entertaining choices. Many people on the conservative side of the aisle are pushing for the idea that Donald Trump should become the Speaker of the House. As we said, you do not need to be a member of Congress. All you need is a majority of the votes. Could Donald Trump get a majority of Republicans, or more so get all of the Republicans to vote for him? Probably. It will be all but suicidal for any Republican in a strong red district to vote against Donald Trump as Speaker of the House, where he declares himself as the candidate. We've also seen that Republicans have been courting him through the media. Sean Hannity has talked about it. They've all sent out tweets, done interviews about it. Donald Trump said that he would graciously accept being Speaker of the House if nominated for a very short period of time. And he's planning on traveling to Washington this week to talk to House Republicans about the possibility of him being the Speaker of the House. There is a non-zero chance that Donald Trump will be elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. And if so, Marjorie Taylor Greene says that this will turn into a MAGA rally every day. That if Donald Trump becomes Speaker of the House, you can anticipate there being nothing but endless hearings, endless investigations into Joe Biden, into Hunter Biden. They're going to subpoena Hunter Biden and bring him to the Judiciary Committee. Trump will probably want to question him himself. Probably going to subpoena Hillary Clinton for something. Barack Obama, Benghazi. It's going to be if this is a clown show, I'm not even quite sure what you would describe Donald Trump as Speaker of the House. The American government will grind to a halt. The government will shut down, and will be shut down for an indeterminate period of time, because Donald Trump's goal is to defund the Jack Smith investigation. You will see congressional hearings on Jack Smith and on the Mar-a-Lago investigation, on the judges. You will see them attempting to defund the Department of Justice, defund the FBI, close down regulatory agencies. It will be nothing short of the complete dissolution of the American system of government if Donald Trump became Speaker of the House. But many Republicans very much want this to happen. There also, however, is a non-zero chance of what's called a coalition speaker. And this used to be just the way the speakers were elected. As I said, it was initially supposed to be a nonpartisan position that just spoke for the House of Representatives, just a ceremonial, or not ceremonial, but administrative position versus being the end-all be-all, the person with the heavy gavel. They're supposed to bring the session into order, so organize the speakers, organize the bills to come up for a vote, put people on their committees. That's the thing the Speaker of the House is supposed to be. Now they basically govern as Prime Minister of the United States of America. But because of this, Hakeem Jeffries walks in with 212 votes for Speaker of the House. He needs to get to 217. So if you can find 5 Republicans or independents to cross lines, Hakeem Jeffries can become the Speaker of the House. Now, why would 5 Republicans cross lines and vote against somebody like Donald Trump, vote against somebody like a Steve Scalise, vote against somebody like a Jim Jordan, when they have a real conservative or a real MAGA as the Speaker of the House, 2 heartbeats away from the presidency? Well, because there are 18 Republicans who are from districts that Joe Biden won. And going into 2024, it's very likely that those will be the number 1 seats up for grabs when it comes to Democrats picking up seats and regaining the majority. And if you want to maintain and hold on to your seat, you can't go super ultra MAGA. You can't go super ultra conservative. You have to actually get things done. And for many Republicans in those swing districts, it very much could be the argument that, well, guess what? If you make Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker of the House, then you would still have a strong hand in determining things such as committee assignments, determining things such as the voting order, and all the things that Republicans still want to do. But also, you could get a border deal done. That would actually deal with the issue of the border, comprehensive immigration reform. You could actually get done additional funding for early childhood education. You could get additional funding through the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit. You could pass universal child care. There's a lot of things legislatively that we could get done if you could just get the crazies out the room and actually get a functioning Congress there. And if you're going back home to voters in a swing district and you say, well, look, I'm a Republican, but I'm not one of those crazy Republicans to shut down the government. I brought you universal child care. That's a far stronger re-election message for those members than saying that we investigated and we burned down the Congress, we shut down the government just to help keep Donald Trump out of jail. So there's a non-zero chance they could end up with Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House. Is it likely? No. More than likely it's going to be one of the establishment Republicans, or even someone like a Liz Cheney coming in from the wilderness and serving as the coalition speaker. But I think that both Donald Trump and Hakeem Jeffries are long shots. But we're going to talk a bit more about what the political ramifications are. We're going to be back after the break, we'll be back after the break. Listen to Patillo podcast version of People, Passion, and Politics on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. We'll be back after the break.